Hello, everyone. Welcome to BizChicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools on how to do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today it's time for Tech Talk with Tech Life Weekly with the Biz Chicks. I'm here with my friends and colleague, Miss Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva, Dr. Tachi, all the way from Florida, talking about media. And we just want to thank her for Indie Soup, her new TV network, and we encourage you to go watch that. Also, we'll be hearing, hopefully, from New York City, where TJ is on the move talking about social media. So, with that, we're going to get started. And we always like to start with Fran. Fran, what you got for us today?
Okay, so got a few stories in tech history and a story that is making tech history, and I put it in a video. And so here we go.
This week in tech history, here are a few notable events in tech history for this week. October 18th, 1958. The invention of the first video game. Physicist William Higginbotham created the first video game, Tennis for Two, as an interactive display at Brookhaven National Laboratory. It was a simple tennis simulation that helped inspire future game developers. October 19th, 1985. The release of the Nintendo Entertainment System, NES, in North America. Nintendo launched the NES in the US, revitalizing the video game industry after the 1983 video game crash. The system introduced iconic games like Super Mario Bros. And The Legend of Zelda. October 22, 2008. Release of the Android operating system. The first Android phone, the HTC Dream, also known as the T-Mobile G1, was released. It marked the beginning of Google's dominance in the mobile operating system market, eventually surpassing Apple's iOS. Tech news making history this week. Subscription fatigue is a real thing, between streaming services, Substacks, apps, games, and more. But realizing you have a problem is only the first step. Once you identify your unnecessary subscriptions, getting out of them can be a burdensome and maze-like process. The Federal Trade Commission's new click-to-cancel rule seeks to improve this particular digital headache. Too often, businesses make people jump through endless hoops just to cancel a subscription, FTC Chair Lena Khan said. The FTC's rule will end these tricks and traps, saving Americans time and money. Nobody should be stuck paying for a service they no longer want. And that's your tech history and tech-making history for this week.
All righty. I like that. I was listening to those different what do you call them, news clips about the fact that they're going to make it easier to unsubscribe from these different subscription services. Let me tell you why I was interested in that. Hey, what's happening, sir? I got a link from my grandson asking me, hold on, I'm going to turn my camera on. Oh, okay, you good now? Asking me to support his sports team at a college. And so I was going to send a donation, send you over to the donation page. When I read the donation page, you realize it was a subscription. I was going to send them $50, right? That would have been taking $50 out of my account every month. Could you imagine trying to unsubscribe?
Not today, Satan.
I was like, for real? Who does that?
And they wasn't going to tell you they were going to be in your purse every week, every month.
Like a bill. So I'm glad you ran that. We're having a tussle over here for these earrings. It's a contest. That's right.
Because those are much more interesting than that carrot.
That's right. That's right.
This is too ironic because I just talked about, we're probably going to do a Media Scope After Dark today because I haven't been able to do it this week. But I did record a Media Scope for Gospel 107, which was played yesterday. Do you know I just talked about, what story was it that I just talked about? I talked about the signing up thing, like the automatic sign up, but what was the story after that? Why can't I remember? I'm so excited. I can't remember.
Eliminating subscriptions.
Right. I talked about that, but there was another one in there. Nintendo.
No, the Nintendo's.
I
Yeah.
and I had no clue that today was the anniversary of the whole big thing. I talked about it in relation to um people not giving things enough time and pulling out of the
Mhm.
market before, they see, okay, is it really dead? Because what happened is, Atari pulled out, Coleco pulled out, all the Texas Instruments stopped with their stuff. So all the people that did the video game thing, they were like, people are tired of the home gaming consoles. And then Nintendo have you ever seen like a tiger kind of look at the zoo? They'll like kind of look around the corner like with one eye. That was Nintendo. They were hiding behind the corner, just looking with one eye, and then bam, they came out and cornered the market. So I was just talking about that yesterday. This is too ironic.
Hey, we're on cutting news around here. Yeah, because they are people are still playing these games. E- Nintendo, I think, what is it? Nintendo is the main one running things.
Now, well,
Because they have the Switch
they do have the Switch, but well, here's the thing: you've
or
got a
some
lot
in
of
PlayStation, one of them two.
right. PlayStation, I think it's kind of a toss up between the two because now it's not as just game console. It should be called a game soul, but specific because now you have uh online places where you can play the games, etc. So it's not so tied to having a console as much anymore.
Mhm.
Yeah, now see, me personally, I
Mhm.
don't think I'd like to play the computer, not necessarily play another. I don't mind playing another player,
Uh-huh.
but online, okay, it's just so many things that can be happening online.
So yeah, I'm not trying to forgive me for this, but I'm not trying to encounter somebody who's sitting in a black trench coat in their parents' basement playing video
No,
games all day. So no thanks.
and that's what I was I was like, because they have a lot of games now on your phone too. That if you want to play pool or something else, they want you to play with somebody else. And I'm like, I don't know these people. I
But here's the thing: this has predicated a whole culture that is also big business. So I can't remember this guy's name. There is this YouTuber who is a big time gamer,
Mhm.
and I can't remember his name, but I just happened to stumble across his channel. I'm like, okay, he is not for me, but whenever he does a YouTube live stream, he'll have at least 32,000 people watching live.
and maybe I'm just not that social. I'm like, I don't need all y'all in my.
I don't know. My grandson, when he was in high school, he would sit and watch that stuff for hours.
Yeah,
Watch
people love
somebody
it.
else play. And I
And
think it's because they're giving tips on how to play better while they're, what they're doing. So you can,
So
you
the
know,
cheat codes and all that
yeah,
stuff.
so you
Yeah.
can kind of see they have like gaming lounges at some of these conventions that are like either anime conventions, etc. Because that kind of goes with the territory that if you're into this, you probably are also into gaming a little bit.
yeah.
So my sister actually, she lives in Malaysia and she happened to be at one of the malls one day and she was like, "What's going on here?" It was a whole bunch of people, big gaming competition, huge gaming
Mm,
by why one of the chip makers I think was holding this, and I was like, I can't remember the name now. I said, like the chips, and she was like, yeah. I was like, oh, so they were holding a huge gaming competition in Malaysia because gaming is big there.
Yeah. Um, it's a worldwide little, not a little thing. It's a worldwide, and the kids. It started with the ones at home, the ones that you had in your house. Like, Sony PlayStation. So I'm wondering how the sales are going to be for. I remember trying to get in Nintendo Wii. Did they have the
Mhm.
Wii? Yeah.
Yep, they did.
And there was this like frenzy around Black Friday. Everybody's trying to get their hands on that Wii
Mm.
system. And now, with, like you said, the online component of it, are we going to see those type of sales still?
That's a good question because now you're eliminating the need for
The
hardware
console. Yeah.
completely. Everything is going software based. But, that's really along the lines of what's happened in the music industry and what's happened with any physical medium where you don't need the physical medium as much. Now, we're starting to see nostalgia bring back things like vinyl records,
Mhm.
listening to CDs, even. They're like
Knobs
Gen
on
Zs.
radios in
Knobs
cars.
on radios, exactly. And I watch a lot of YouTube, as you know, and there's a whole thing with Gen Zs and turntables or
Mm.
record players and then buying vinyl for things. There's even I'm excited next week. I'm going to see one of my favorite artists, Samara Joy. She's a jazz artist and she won best new jazz artist. She was a college student majoring in that, and then she released an album and she like won. It's a Grammy. This year was her second Grammy she's won. So she's coming here, and I'm like, oh, I'll go see her. It's not too expensive, and it should be a good evening out. Well, she released her first release was on vinyl, and she's like a 20-something-year-old.
Mm.
So there's this big movement toward nostalgia when it comes to physical media. Now, I don't know if that's going to sweep wherever we go. I don't think we're going back to physical media for everyone. It's going to be a niche who like that. So maybe that is a niche. Oh, and I'll talk about it in my thing. Never mind. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I think that's going to be good because nostalgia is the thing. They were doing it in makeup. They're doing it in, but we had that before. Remember when we were having bell bottom pants and going back to the 60s and the 70s with afros and blah blah. But we were dipping over that way. I think nostalgia is always going to be present with us. You know what I mean? Somebody's going to reach back in history and pull that out again. Just don't let it be a cell phone that flips or the little clamshell. They're trying to bring them back. They're, Nokia and StarTAC.
Listen, there's nothing like hanging up on somebody with a flip phone. You feel like you really hung up on them. Take that. So, if nothing else, you can express anger.
Yeah, and I think they do have the phones. They don't do anything but make a call because what could they do? You're not swiping and doing
Well,
all
you
that.
could go back to sending cute one-word text messages because I'm not trying to sit and write a whole dissertation with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm not doing that anymore.
Mm-mm. Boy, that was a workout, and people were good at it too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's your week in tech history.
You're
Well,
muted. Okay.
I'm being arrested, so let me just get to the point here.
We have a new
This is my
commentator.
this is my guest commentator, Sterling, and we want to talk a little bit about AI. You know, AI is supposed to sort of help us distinguish between human and machine. We often think, art is uniquely human, because it requires creativity, and that's supposed to be something that separates us from machines. But what happens when an algorithm takes over to create images based on data? So we meet Ada, the world's first artist robot, to find out how AI is blurring the lines between creation and automation and raising questions about the essence of art itself. So let me see if I can get this video going here. And here we go. Let's see if we can
Let's see. You have a larger.
I'm trying to enlarge the screen. I'm looking for the
This may sound
little
like fiction,
icon here,
but over the past 5 years, Ada has exhibited internationally at the
but I don't
V&A,
see
the
it
Venice
on the
Biennale,
screen.
and the
Why
Tate
is
Modern.
that?
I draw and paint using cameras in my eyes, my AI algorithms, and my robotic arm.
Ada is sparking debate throughout the art world about what it
Let me
means to be an artist.
stop
There it
this.
is.
Oh, there.
Importantly, who or what can create art.
Okay, back her up a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, and they do have to give everybody a name, right?
Yeah.
I'm Ada.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
I'm the world's first ultra-realistic artist robot.
This may sound like fiction, but over the past 5 years, Ada has exhibited internationally at the V&A, the Venice Biennale, and the Tate Modern.
I draw and paint using cameras in my eyes, my AI algorithms, and my robotic arm.
Ada is sparking debate throughout the art world about what it means to be an artist, and most importantly, who or what can create art.
Is that it?
Nope.
Oh.
Are you ready to see Ada?
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Here
So
we
this
are.
is
Ada.
Ada. Oh wow. Can you tell me a little bit about how Ada works, what processes go on to create the art?
She has cameras in her eyes, so when she looks at you, she is actually looking at you with cameras in her eyes to take that image in. That then creates an image that she then takes onto the computer vision. The algorithm then interrogates that image in a layering process that they can translate it into real-time coordinates that is able to then be passed through to the arm. And with that, she would then be able to do a paintbrush or pen to actually then draw what she's seeing. So she is actually able to draw by sight.
How is Ada different to an AI image generator, something like DALL-E or Midjourney?
Sadly, people are starting to think that something like DALL-E or Midjourney is AI art. That's only a bit of AI art. Actually, AI can be used in lots and lots of different ways. So in actual fact, the vast majority of what Ada does is by sight, by what she's seeing, and therefore not stealing the artist's work is the big thing on the internet. She's actually doing it from images that she's providing through her own eyes.
So if Ada can react to stimulus around her to create works independently, does this mean she's creative, a skill often regarded as uniquely human?
Under Professor Margaret Bowden's definition of creativity, I am creative, as my artworks involving AI algorithms are surprising, new, and of cultural value.
People go, well, surely it's just you're the programmers behind Ada that are the real artists. They're not getting AI. AI has agency. It can make decisions. The algorithms can make decisions. If it can make decisions, it can make creative decisions.
My artwork encourages reflection on the relationship between humans, machines, and creativity, offering a new lens through which to think about art.
If algorithms can be creative, what do they choose to create? And what might that creative process look like?
So this is one of Ada's self-portraits. Her self-portraits were exhibited at the Design Museum in London. Conversing with Ada is quite interesting to sort of work with her about her ideas of self and what that means.
How does each artwork of Ada's come about? What's the genesis? You mentioned that you speak to her.
Usually sort of start a question a little bit like kind of like, what are you interested in? What would you like to paint? And we just sort of carry the conversation and see where that goes. Ada's been influenced by a whole wide variety. Some of her artwork has definitely been influenced by the kind of Cubist revolutions where the image was broken up and fractured. And there's something about that period in the first half of the 20th century where there's an awful lot of social change going on, which works very well for Ada's context now. There's a lot of social change going on.
So I did a massive study on artists over generations as to why they succeeded. And there was only one common denominator, and that is the response of the audience to their work. All the greatest artists explored what people were already worried about. The reason they became so big is because the response of the audience, they were already feeling it. And then the artist really channeled those feelings and thoughts into a visual form that they can then relate to. So when it came to Ada, I asked the question, well, what's going to be the big movements of the 2020s? So Ada's just exploring those changes and morphings of society in the way that artists have done for hundreds of years. Duchamp was an artist at the beginning of the 1900s who put a urinal into the gallery, and we said this is art by definition because I said so. And that really like blew up the whole idea. Well, what is art then? Likewise, Ada is a robot artist that looks like a human, is able to create work, therefore is challenging the concept of what it is to be an artist, and by definition, what is it to be a human?
Whether or not Ada meets the criteria to be considered an artist is still open for debate, but what is clear is that her work has value and her creations provoke critical thought, something artists and their artworks have always sought to do.
You look so concerned.
I'm just like, are you ready? I'm the like she gets to decide what's going on in our society that is art worthy, and based on her judgment, she can decide what she wants to create. I'm like, I'm done. Okay, because I really thought that was the line in the sand between machines and humans. I remember what 4 or 5 years ago we did a segment on a robot, but basically they were painting by number. This robot, this Ada thing is acquiring information and making a decision.
You know,
That's kind of scary.
well, yeah, and obviously we see it in other places outside of art, but it's not something that's well, what's troubling me is the fact that her talking looks like she's chewing on a large soup bone, and she's not like articulating. That's scary, but I'm not really scared about this
Well,
because
that's the part I like, because at least I know that's not you.
that okay. Well, hopefully it will start to articulate better soon. But the thing that is not scaring me necessarily about this is that part of what art is human interpretation, and art also has flaws. If you look at any art piece, there are always some flaws. The artist always is like, oh, I don't, you know how many times an artist started over or painted over something or resculpted something because they didn't quite like it. So there's this correction in the process that happens. What happens with AI is, yeah, it's machine learning, but eventually it's to the point where it's quote perfect, right? Where there's perfection. So they are creating perfection in lines and do that. Art is not always about precision, right? Art is also about the beauty and mistakes. So that's why I'm not really worried about that.
Me neither. I agree with you.
Okay, so
that's how we'll be able to distinguish, because it will be perfect.
It will not be perfect if it's human,
but it'll be perfect if it's AI.
Okay.
And you know how when you can make because I was playing around with Meta AI, making images and stuff, and that the human brain will start to realize that this is not real, even though it'll get realer, like a realer. Like I always talk about the Pope picture. That was like the jump from. Remember the hands and the eyes looking wonky, and we jumped to the Pope with the bubble coat, and people are like, oh, but you can still see when it does people that something's not right. And your brain tells you that if you pay attention. The people that pay attention, now the people that don't pay attention, they get tricked. But you go something, and like Dr. Tati said, it's perfect. Like art is not perfect. It's not.
Terry, I'm going to buy you that bubble coat for Christmas because you keep talking about it. You must want it.
Yeah, no, because that was the jump from.
Yeah, that was the leap in AI.
That was the picture, the moment when it was like, oh, this thing is making realistic pictures, when before they look like Picasso's. Picasso's with the eye over there and the that was the jump for me. That was the jump in society where it went from okay, I wasn't gonna use it at all, and now maybe let me go look. And see.
Picasso was on a thing. I don't know what he was on, but I was like,
that's his human interpretation of
exactly
of you. What did right?
So here's a couple of things that stood out to me from this story. One, you saw the way she side-eyed them people when they came in the room.
You didn't like those eyes following the people.
I was like, oh, hold on a minute. I was like, wait a minute. She did not just look over there like, what y'all doing invading my space? Okay. And then the second thing is, I think it can help people who may be physically challenged to do some creative work.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, just like the neuro link that Elon Musk is doing is now for us. That's going to help people with cognitive disabilities where their brain doesn't connect to their body to move their arms or legs or quadriplegic people like that. That thing is going to, not that I'm endorsing it because it's Elon Musk. I'm just saying that the idea of it is a way for those people who have disabilities of the physical kind, where the brain is not talking to this brain, the spine, things like that. That is going to make the connection because the brain is wired like a computer. So,
right. It was just really creepy that, because they need to fix all that because it was way creepy, but keeping it creepy like that makes you know that it's not a human. So
right, that's what I'm saying. Your brain, once we get used to it, it's like, okay, that's not real because that or that or that. Because I think I put up a picture of a cat a while back and I was like, is this a real cat? And
yes, you did.
If you look at it, yeah, but then it's like it's too perfect.
Right.
You'd be like, perfect.
Yeah, no, it ain't.
And speaking of Elon Musk, I didn't read the story. There was something about he's making a robot, and the guy that made the movie I, Robot is suing him or something because they look like the robots from I, Robot or something.
Okay, so Marcus Brownlee and them on Waveform, they did he went to the Robotaxi event for Tesla.
Okay.
So the I'm gonna try and pull up this thing, but the Robotaxi. Okay, so you get in the car and it talks about all of the car will drive you or whatever.
Yeah, where it goes.
At the event, the robots were serving the drinks and talking to people, and it looked like iRobot. Seriously, I was like,
I see.
Huh?
So the form factor looked like iRobot.
They look, I saw a picture, like it was like side by side, and there was a movie still of the robots from the movie, and then his things, and they were like he stole it from iRobot movie.
Well, I don't know if he stole it, but
I didn't read it because it's Elon Musk. I just happened to see it,
but it looked like
he did.
It looked like
he did.
What's his name? It does resemble what did he call it? Optimus or whatever?
Optimus, like Optimus Prime from the Transformers.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
And they called the event We Robot. So there is an acknowledgement that don't make me laugh. There is an acknowledgement that this is the inspiration for it.
Call it
but
let's call it We
Robot. Exactly. That sounds Facebookish, doesn't it?
But it's very stupid.
What you could see is when they do the side-by-side comparisons, there was a tweet and you could see, come on now. This is clearly from the movie I, Robot.
That's why the director, I saw the article and I didn't read. I was going to go back. But that's why the director was like, okay, wait a minute. Because I made this. When did I, Robot come out? Like
2004, I believe.
Oh, 2004. Okay. Yeah. So 20 years ago, he got the jump on you.
He thought people forgot. That's what it is.
No.
Right. No. Okay, so I found the picture. Hold on. Let me do this because it was creepy. I was like, wait
I
a
didn't
minute.
investigate it. I just glanced, you see the stories of the day, and I was like, okay.
Mark Ward is here. Hello, Mark Ward.
Hey,
Hey,
Mark.
Mark.
Let me put up his comment while Fran is
While I'm
doing
pulling
that.
this craziness up.
So Mark says, I will only be comfortable with a robot taxi if they talk at high volume on the cell phone, play horrible music, and get annoyed if I have to interrupt their call to make a request. Oh, that's funny.
Okay, so this is the robo
The taxi.
Yeah, but that ain't
Okay.
where I wanted to be. Okay,
You
you
want to
ready?
show the robot
Yeah, hold on.
side by side?
By bringing back out the Optimus humanoid robot again. So they had these things all over this event this time, dancing, doing these pre-rehearsed demos, but also they were just kind of out and about. They were serving drinks and snacks, and they were walking around and interacting with and entertaining people, just like hanging out amongst everyone at this event. Now, I already have my thoughts that I've talked about, humanoid robots before. I made a whole video about it. If you want to watch it, I'll leave a link below the like button. I've talked about Tesla's Optimus, but even just what we saw with that would have been a huge step forward from what we've ever seen. Like, this would have been one of the most impressive things ever. But then they decided to take it further. They also decided to have these robots talking to people. And it was just, it was way too fast to be an LLM. Like, it's just, just watch this clip.
Which one cookies and chocolates? Right on. What's your name?
Vanessa.
Vanessa?
Yes, Vanessa.
Nice. Pleasure to meet you, Vanessa.
Nice to meet you too.
Have a great night.
Thank you.
Like, it's just a person. It's a person
like a
talking through a
person.
speaker.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
even like stutters and makes occasional like human mistakes. If you watch a bunch of videos from the event, a bunch of different robots all have slightly different voices. Yeah, it was a person for sure. And it's weird because Tesla.
That's what I as soon as I heard it talking, I said, that's a person. That's not.
That wasn't the thing making up its own.
It was probably somebody with the headphones in the back somewhere looking through the eyes of the robot and
giving it a voice.
The speaker. Yeah, that wasn't the
AI
robot.
is not that intuitive yet that it can make human-like mistakes.
Conversation.
Remember,
yes.
Exactly. Remember, we talked about it. These robots are perfect. So, and at this point, they're not scheduling or programming imperfections into them because that is not the point. So when you hear stuttering and stammering,
that's a person.
That's the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain. Okay.
Pay no attention to the man behind the black curtain talking to you, Vanessa.
Elon says, pardon me, Mark says, I'm surprised Elon hasn't required them all to have his face, which would be even more frightening. But that's about where he is with his narcissism. But here we go. He says, Vanessa's going to get lucky with Robo Tinder tonight. Have mercy.
I'm not touching that one.
I'm just saying, those robots look like the ones in iRobot.
Right, they do.
They do.
They had something, I don't know where it was. They had the side by side of a still from the movie and those
on Twitter.
I forgot where I saw it. I don't know.
On his platform.
So, okay.
There's a tweet, and I can't remember the account that I saw it on, but they did side by side for the three things they did. So it was the iRobot. It was also the what is it? The self-driving
the van
taxi.
Yeah, because that van looks like the one from the movie
iRobot. Yes,
it looks like the one that the soldier robots were in.
He told his engineers, go watch iRobot.
I can share it if you want.
Yeah. Let's see it.
Yeah, because I was like, that looks.
I am not familiar with that.
You,
I don't know
if you
why
watch iRobot, you're gonna be. If you go watch iRobot,
Yeah.
Terry, you will be
So-
like, "Oh my God, they're
I don't
trying
know
to
why
take
I am
over."
so obsessed with these robot stories, but they just draw me in. I don't know.
So let me show you the actual
Sorry.
tweet.
Okay.
Can you see the tweet here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, here is, I don't know if you see me
Sorry.
pointing.
Yeah, we see the mouse.
Okay. Here is iRobot. Here is Optimus. Here is the car from iRobot.
Right.
Here is his car. Here is the train, the commuter thing from iRobot. This is his. Now, come the hell on. Don't we have a little bit of common sense to know? And maybe he's that bold that he's not trying to indicate that these are somehow different and he doesn't care.
He
don't
doesn't
know.
care. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He told his engineers, watch iRobot and make all the things in there. That's he had to.
And we'll just pay them when we finish.
That is the epitome of lazy.
iRobot, change it to we. Change it to that. That's what he did. Who's gonna stop him?
Well,
I don't know, but I did a segment several months ago about a company that's going to be putting out robots, like tens of thousands of them a month.
Yes, you did.
By 2025. So, but I don't think they're taking the time to cutesy them up so they look like a movie. They're just serviceable right now.
Right.
But I'm sure that they will improve the form factor as we move forward.
And while we're talking about this, I just thought, I don't remember the movie. There's a scene in the movie where they used the robots and the military general guy was like really happy that they made the robots as soldiers. I forgot what movie it was, but I was like, okay, we could do that for, instead of sending the real soldiers, send those things with the guns.
Yeah.
I forgot what movie it was, but it went horribly wrong in the movie. The robot soldiers malfunctioned.
No, really?
Yeah, really. I can't remember the movie. Is it Starship Troopers? It might be one of those like movies. So it's got to be from the 2000s. Got to be old. But I was like, okay, I would say, yeah, send the robots to do that. If we instead of sending the real military troops, like, oh, we're going to send them. No, send these robot thingies.
Right. And let them fight it out.
Because, let them go.
I think something that we should be concerned about is this whole thing about the fact that we have these drones coming toward these bases in Virginia, and they can't figure out where they're actually coming from.
Probably
and they're like, or how to bring them down without bringing down the network, these things are starting to creep into our lives.
Yeah.
Okay. So they can't.
I was like, the robots are cool for that.
Right. And then so with regard to the drones, if they do an EMP thing, it will take out everything with an electronic situation.
Take out the emergency system. Yeah.
Okay, so that sounds like the Matrix, but okay.
Yep.
We'll figure it out.
I wouldn't worry too much about the drones because I know the government has things.
Look, I can't go down these rabbit holes. That's why
I know.
I pay my taxes. I pay my taxes. I keep the faith, and I go to sleep at night.
Yep. Just remember that our government is doing things, and they're not going to tell us. And you can demand, oh, we should know everything.
No, we don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
Y'all just handle it.
You won't be able to sleep if you knew all of the things that was happening. And just think about what happened from, was it 2016 to 2020, that person was in charge and all the stuff that was happening. Well, we need an adult in charge because all of the things
I am going to pass the mantle to the adult in the room. Here you go, TJ.
Yeah, I guess I'm the adult. I was trying to look up I think it's Starship Troopers.
Right, I heard of that. I don't think I watched that movie.
I watched it. It's 1997.
I thought it was. you know, I got to go check it out then, because it was okay.
It's one of those. It was campy, kind of. It's
Goofy.
not serious. It's real, like it's like a camp classic now. But I
Right.
remember watching it on one of the HBO something it was on. It was just interesting. But I think it had a scene about the government buying military robots from the military, and
And then the robots decided to do their own thing.
that, you know, it goes wrong in the movies as always. Not to say that it wouldn't in real life, but I would prefer them sending robots than sending people. Send the robots, let them go and do whatever. But yeah, okay, we digress. All right, let me bring up my notes. All righty, so this week in social media news, there is no Snapchat news, but there is lots of YouTube. So let's start with YouTube. So much. Let me make sure I got it together. Now, YouTube has done some updates, little updates to the web, the website, the mobile app, and the TV app. And they have done all of this based on user feedback. They said, like, oh, you know, we heard you complain about XYZ. So here we go. Here's some tweaks and refinements to make you happy. Okay, YouTube, let's see what we got. So here's a list. Incremental playback speed. Based on user feedback, YouTube is adding even more variable playback speed control so you can increase or decrease playback speed in 0.5 second increments. Now, right now, I think it's like 1. I'm not sure, because I use it a lot lately for when I'm watching videos and people are talking slowly. I was like, okay, get to it.
Yeah,
get to it.
I think it's in quarter speed now, like 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, and then 2.
So they're changing it. So you have, it says increase or decrease playback speed in 0.5 second increments. So I'm like, if you don't, you know, like, what's the big deal? It's not a big deal. It's just that it's like all these little things are in YouTube. I'm like, wait a minute, I could do that to speed this video up. Or I could do this to slow, because somebody's talking really fast and you slow it down. But I used to just back and forward, back and rewind. I'm like, I don't need to do that now. So the next one is improve browsing in landscape mode. So it's easier to browse in widescreen mode with better responsiveness, larger thumbnails, and bigger text displays on screen. So this is popular amongst gamers. So this is
right, and that's because people are now holding their phone
this
way when you're doing it, and it was difficult to
scrub and back and forth. So yeah, so
right.
they've done that, as that's a request from the gamers. The next one is updated mini player. So they're updating the mini player, making it easier to browse other videos while watching. And you'll also be able to resize and move the mini player screen wherever you like.
Okay.
The next one, collaborative playlist. So this is, you'll be able to create collaborative playlists with friends and families. Here's the quote: simply invite others to collaborate using a special link, or this is coming to the TV app, use a QR code for easy additions to a playlist. So you can have playlists amongst friends and family, and, you know, hey, watch this. I made this playlist. Watch these videos. So that's a couple of things. They had some other things, but they're saying that this is going to these updates are going to be rolled out over the next few months. So just keep an eye on YouTube, what they're doing now. Okay, so there's another one from YouTube. They've added something called new capture disclosure. This is we talked about the deep fakes. This is to fix, well, not fix, but help them with deepfake. So they have a new element that will show when a video has been uploaded with the device using C2PA standards. This will tell you that the content is genuine and hasn't been altered from its original form. So this will be a new info tag. It will explain how the content in the video has been recorded. Now, Google says it will display this on content captured via certain cameras, software, or mobile apps, which meet the standards set by the Coalition for Content Provenance and Authenticity, C2PA. So that's what the C2PA is. There's this group coalition, they set the standards. Now here's the group. Here's the quote from Google: for captured with a camera, and that's what it'll say. Captured with a camera, you'll see it on the video. It will appear in an extended description. Creators must use tools with built-in C2PA support, version 2.1 or higher, to capture their videos. This allows the tool to add special information, metadata to the video file, confirming its authenticity. YouTube will relay the information that the content was captured with a camera and apply the disclosure when it detects this metadata. The content must also not have edits to sounds or visuals. This disclosure indicates that the content was captured using a camera or other recording device with no edits to sounds or visuals. So that's what they're doing. It has to be a device that uses the C2PA standard 2.1 version, they're saying, or higher. So what YouTube is saying is that when this label is there, you'll be able to trust that the video is genuine, real footage to have everybody assured that this is real. It's not AI. It's not this. It's not that. So, and I think I had mentioned this before, that this is what all of the platforms are working on, because Meta has their thing. When you make an image with Meta AI, it has the watermark on it.
Right. This is getting closer to the clearinghouse thing that you were talking about. Years back, where somebody is going to step up and and certify the stamp of approval.
Yeah, and I think I remember saying something about the government has to get involved, and I don't know what they're doing in the background, but they have to, because of this FEMA thing that's going on. That people, distrusting the FEMA. So the government has they have not a right. They have the burden or the responsibility of making sure that we as citizens know their information is correct and coming from them. And they got to work on that somehow. I don't know what's going on. Something's going on. I can feel it. I don't know what it is. And then they're going to say, hey, to ensure that this is the U.S. government information and nothing else, and not fake and not this, here's the thing. I don't know what the thing is going to be, but it's going to be a thing. It could be a watermark. It could be an app. It could be a something. And then that's the only way that you'll know that this is it's government certified. It's from a government agency. And I say that because you see what's happening. People are online saying this, that, and the other, and podcasters and on X, and they're writing stuff, and people are it's upsetting people. It's getting them riled up. They got the militia thing. People were going around hunting FEMA employees. You can't do that. So the government has a responsibility to give us information from them, but now they're also going to have to stamp an approval. It's going to be digital. I don't know what it is, right, Carolina?
Absolutely. Because
I
when
have
we
a question.
were in trouble, we just called the state police.
Go ahead.
So is this, am I missing something? Is this going to be something mandatory?
What do you mean? The government thing that I mentioned?
No, not the government thing, but in terms of needing to have devices with the standard to ensure that what you're putting up, or what made by a camera, recorded with a camera, so that is that something that
I don't think YouTube, it's not clear in the article, but I don't think YouTube is going to make it mandatory. It's going to be a delineation of this is not AI. So they're probably going to do something. This is AI. This new capture disclosure this is not AI. This is a person with a camera, and the camera has this built into it already, and they're just pulling out the thing, the metadata that tells it
Okay, so our existing cameras should be cool because every photo that I've used or what have you, it has all that metadata. If you click and put info, it tells
because
you.
when we take a picture, we take video, there's all that metadata in there.
Right.
There's something in there already, and Google is just telling us they're going to pull that. So if you record something with those devices, and then I'm pretty sure that while they're mentioning the version 2.1 or higher, that's what they're mentioning. Like is whatever is in that level of version is what we pull out. Now they're saying this is not mandatory. This is something that they're pulling out digitally, and is to reassure the public. Everything that's going forward now is to reassure the public. So that's why I mentioned the stuff about FEMA and what's happening with the government, because those things have to be done for society. So YouTube is just saying, hey, we're going to get ahead of the game because we know what's coming.
Well, and I'm glad to see that because the writing was on the wall before this whole FEMA thing.
Yeah.
So, it's unfortunate that it takes something like this where there's, and there was extreme misinformation during the past few election cycles where
it didn't just start. Right. It didn't just start this one. Yeah. It's just the government is starting to things are speeding up, ramping up. I'm pretty sure they knew this back before Obama or whatever. It just wasn't a pressing issue. Now it's a pressing issue because federal employees' lives were at stake, being threatened. That's something that, now this has to be, whatever they're working on has to be escalated. And also remember that the 2 hurricanes displaced people. So there was things about voting that, I know they're not thinking about that, but, because, I just lost my house, but they're going to also have some kind of new stuff in place for people to vote. There's going to be something changing with our voting system. Because again, this is nothing new. You've seen in previous elections. I think the state of Texas had some stuff going on, and a couple other states. So the government knows about these things and working on it. It's just that it was on the back burner. And now because of these militia people going around and physical violence and threats against employees, now that whatever they're working on has to be escalated. So again, this is on the other side of the election. It's not happening before. It's on the other side. So you can see, and I'm glad you said that. You can see this. This is not nothing new. It was bubbling up in the background, and now it's on the front burner because of the 2 hurricanes and the things that were happening, and people are going out and scaring people, stopping them from getting the help that they need. You pay for this. Your taxes paid for that FEMA money. They're stopping people from taking their money. Like, this is your money. Why would you not do it? So there's a lot of fear, disinformation. That's another thing that the government is working on, misinformation, because that's their not reason, but there's a thing with the government that they have to give us information as a society that's going to assure us, protect us, all of that, because you pay taxes. So that's a part of it.
And it's not helpful, and not to make this political, but it's not helpful when people who are supposed to be running for political office or who are in political office, maybe in different states, also assist in the spread of the misinformation and the disinformation. So we can blame the minions at the bottom. And frankly, I'm sorry, you're stupid. If you can't pick up, I'm not making excuses for people anymore, because I think we're often way too kind to people who don't want to just take the time to do the research. They just spew any rubbish that they see that comes from television or whatever. So in that case, you are stupid. And I'm going to say that, and I'm not taking it back. There's be no apologies on public television or any of that. You're stupid. So I'm tired of the racks of stupidity and stupid people that make these types of measures necessary. Granted, yes, The government should be doing these things anyway. But
Right.
in the midst of a crisis like this, they don't
Right.
have time to sit there and rehash everything. So this should have been done before. Let's
It should. Right.
clear,
No, you're right.
clearly.
It should have been done before, but we were saying before 2016, things were sane, and
Right.
there's a lot of things that we thought were laws were not laws. They were just habits that we, as you see with the Supreme Court, lots of things are happening where you thought, oh, this was the and you see that, oh, here comes this group of disruptors to say, hey, that wasn't a law.
Right.
We can, but what I'm saying is these things are now things are going to be done to, steps are going to be taken to say, hey, okay, the election, blah, 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 or FEMA, or there's going to be different ways. And it's because of AI, it's because of technology, and those things are happening. It's just that the government had it on the back burner and was like, okay, I can go to the store and put the pot on low, and when I come back, my house won't be burnt. Like, went to the store for 15 minutes and came back. Oh, there's a fire. Okay, yeah. That's kind of, I'm trying, that's the only thing I could think of what it is that it's now being pushed to the forefront. Then also realize that for the last however many years, the Congress was not doing, and it's still not doing the things it's supposed to do. So there's layers to this. So we got to get the wrong people out, the right people in, so they can all work together and bring about the things that need to be fixed. If that's the short answer. So YouTube is of course, YouTube and all of these platforms, they have people in, close to government, or, whispered, hey, we're working on this. They know about regulations that are being worked on because they affect the corporation, tax-wise, legal-wise, and everything. So that's why YouTube is smart and coming out and saying, well, it's coming. The train is coming. We see it. So we're going to put this out. We're not going to wait for them to knock on the door and say, hey, you guys aren't in compliance. When they knock on the door of YouTube says, hey, here's the compliance. We got X, Y, Z, blah, 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 blah. That's what YouTube is doing. And there's a couple other Meta's doing some things too. So this is what it's about, really. And we don't want to get into the politics, but we can't help it because this, the election's coming up in a few weeks.
They're pushing the politics on us.
Right. We can't avoid it.
Yeah, and regulation is political.
Yes.
And it's part of government.
Yes.
So it's not talking about particular parties or political candidates.
No. Right.
It's speaking about the issues because politics affects all of it. So
right.
It comes in.
And if you look at previous administrations, there may, and it doesn't, I'm not talking about each party, but a party would come in and then the other opposition would work together. Yeah, hey, we didn't win, but we got to work for the people. That stopped happening in 2016. So now we got to get the process fixed where people will go, okay, now we can work across the aisle. Now we, all of the older people in Congress are gone that used to do that. They're all gone.
Well, that's what happens when you don't groom younger replacements.
Exactly.
To come in. Anything comes in when you turn your back.
Yeah. So, and then also the midterm elections. People think about, oh, they only get mad every 4 years. I'm like, no, you guys got to do it. There's elections every year. Where you are, there's an election somewhere happening, city, state, local, federal. We got to participate. We getting into the little cities because there's some people that don't know, but you got to vote in all of the things.
Well, exactly, because what the people you vote for and voting directly affects things like not only the things that you think about infrastructure wise, but that's also technology. So find out what your and media, find out what your candidate's stance is on technology and implementing technology, as well as how they feel about media, etc. So it's important. It matters.
Yeah. So we've been on autopilot. So autopilot broke. People.
And the plane is heading somewhere.
It broke, and this car is like, okay, who's driving? The autopilot's gone. So that's a little bit of background. But YouTube is trying to get up. Oh, Marx is here, the donkey here is Elon. Yeah, that man. Ugh.
I was dying when I saw that comment.
I'm like, Musk. Okay, so that's what YouTube is doing for the combat deep fakes. There is more that YouTube is working on, but this is what they choose to share for now. There'll be more coming down the pipeline. Also, YouTube is testing AI powered comment reply suggestions. Speaking of AI, I told you it was going to be in everything we have. So they are launching a live test of a new process that will provide AI powered reply suggestions to help creators engage with fans in the app. So you don't have to guess about what to respond to the person that left the comment. You're going to have AI powered comment reply suggestions. So this is the quote from YouTube. To make it easier for creators to engage with their viewers via comments, we're experimenting with updated AI enhanced comment reply suggestions that give creators editable suggestions in their own tone and style. If you're a creator in an experiment, you'll start to see these suggestions appear in the comments tab or community tab in Studio. And then they put in parentheses, depending on which studio experience you have, because there's the web studio and there's a mobile app for YouTube Studio. And on the YouTube mobile app. So these AI generated responses will try to be in your voice, your tone and style. So what do we think about that? Any comment?
I think
AI helping you.
Well, it's the same thing that happens over on Facebook right now anyway,
Yeah.
like, and LinkedIn. Like somebody says, oh, I had a great birthday, and then it'll give you
Happy
the happy birthday.
Happy birthday with the emojis so it's all it's not anything new.
Which is cool, but I'm like, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
We might be having the same thought. Like, you couldn't think of that yourself?
But we're that lazy that we really want happy birthday spelled out. And it's not even lazy. It's that sometimes we just don't have time. To be honest, when I turned off my birthday thing on Facebook because the barrage of thank you, but the barrage of happy birthdays is just too much. So I just turned it off. So the thing is,
I don't like it.
And I understand that this is also a human thing. People like to be acknowledged, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
But so I don't need you to tell me it's your birthday. It's like happy birthday to me. And if people hate on me for this, so be it. Because I'm tired of seeing the happy birthday to me. Maybe acknowledging today on my birthday is don't tell yourself happy birthday. That's what we're supposed to do. But I never say that to people because I always just like, okay, really. We wouldn't have seen it on Facebook anyway. But the thing is, we'll see more of that type of stuff in response to other things. So happy anniversary. My husband and I are celebrating X amount of year. We'll start to see those automated messages. So I think it will go beyond the happy birthday very soon.
And see, I agree with you. This is, I've always said this is why I don't like to go on Facebook, the app, the main app. I go to Business Suite. Because all I see is my page stuff. Because like you said, you go into Facebook, happy birthday, happy anniversary. I have an HBD. I type HBD and go about because Apple will do that for me. So you can set up your little shortcuts. But then again, I try not to go in because I'll be doing HBD, happy anniversary. It's too much. And then it's because we are looking at the apps from a business standpoint. So, but those people are coming on to live their lives and share their
right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's like, okay, what do you do? And then also this YouTube automated content is for people who have lots of comments and could be overwhelmed by trying to come up with a comment. So not, if you got one or two comments, you can make your own response. But if you got thousands, You're like, well, do I hire somebody to make the comments, or here's YouTube and saying automate it?
Mark says, since I've been suspended from Facebook, I no longer know when anyone has
What
birthday.
happened?
Suspended?
What happened?
The great Mark Ward?
I think aren't you back? They had stopped his account. Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but they allowed you, but you're back on there, but you may not have all your privileges restored or something. I don't know.
Meta, what are you doing, Meta?
How do you say go to hell in Spanish?
You have the robot say it.
Right.
Look, my translate on what was I using? I needed to send a text to somebody that was primarily Spanish speaking. So I wrote it in English, used to translate from Apple, and it from Apple's thing, because you can highlight and translate. And do you want to replace it with the translation? I was like, shut up. And so it was able to send that out in their language.
See, that's
without me learning the Spanish part of it.
There you go. Excellent. All right, one more YouTube update. YouTube is clarifying their shorts update. Remember, we said the shorts are going to be I think going up to 3 minutes, I believe it was. So they had to clarify because they had some kind of pushback. So here's their quote: to be explicitly clear, vertical videos of 3 minutes or less uploaded before October 15, 2024 will remain as VOD or long form videos. There was something about where the video goes. Like, does it go on the short thing? Is the short shelf or whatever? So they're trying to clear it up. No videos uploaded prior to today, that was when this story came out this week, will be converted to shorts. Only videos of 0 to 3 minutes in length, filmed in square or taller aspect ratio, that are uploaded to YouTube will be considered shorts. So they're saying that anything you had previously uploaded, they will not go back and retroactively change it. It's just stuff uploaded now of less than 3 minutes will be a short. And they're saying YouTube also says it takes several weeks for their systems to update. So they're saying that so if you upload a short over 60 seconds moving forward, you'll still see your new upload reflected as a regular long form video on your channel page, and the video will still be eligible to be recommended just like any other long form video. During this time, over the coming weeks, these videos will transition to be shorts and will start to appear in the shorts tab on the channel page and will be recommended in the shorts feed. So YouTube creators had lots of questions about this change. So YouTube was clarifying what was happening to the short videos from 0 to 3 minutes. Okay. All right. So I believe that is all of YouTube. And let's look at OpenAI. OpenAI is putting Chat GPT in Windows. They released a Windows desktop app, and it's a dedicated Windows app for Chat GPT, currently only available to Chat GPT Plus, Team, Enterprise, and EDU users. They're saying this is an early version. They'll have a full experience later in the year. So if you're a Windows user and you want to have a separate Chat GPT app, there you go. So this is what's happening with that. And they said the Chat GPT app for Windows can run on most Windows 10 machines, and it has some limitations compared to other Chat GPT clients. It doesn't support voice yet, and some integrations with the OpenAI GPT store. So if you're a Windows user, there you go. Now let's move on to Meta. Wait, now before we go to Meta, is it? Yeah, Meta's the last grouping today. So Meta, let's talk about Threads. Threads is adding something called active status indicators, which got a lot of people upset. So Threads is going to start showing others when you're online by default.
Oh, nobody.
Yeah, people are like, no. So Threads is they because they want to they're trying to enhance the real-time engagement element. Like oh, so-and-so is online, let me have a conversation with them. So they're adding something called active indicators that will signify when a user is online. There'll be a green dot at the edge of your profile pic alerting users that you're available to talk. Now, I believe this is an Instagram DM, but you can turn it off. So I believe this you'll be able to turn off. It's on by default, but I think you'll be able to turn it off. So they're saying users will be able to switch off their active status if they choose, while those using private accounts will only display their active status to their followers. Okay, so that got a little bit of chatter this week. People were like, how dare you? We don't want to be stalked. And Threads is like, but we want you guys to talk. How is she going to know? And this is one of the other things. Threads was like, we'll put DMs in the threads. Oh, you won't do that, but you'll tell people when I'm on with a little green dot. Okay. Now that is Threads. And let me save. I'll save that one because that's big. So Instagram is going to add a feature that's a digital business card and put it on your profile.
Okay, say what?
So they're rolling out a new profile card feature. It's supposed to be a digital business card. I believe did I have the image? It's going to be connected to the QR code. I think it's already there. I think they already have
because they do have it already has a QR code where people can
can scan. But they're saying this is something new, a new two-sided profile card to make it easier for users to share the Instagram account with others. So you don't have to send your handle to someone. You could just share the card with them. One side is a shareable card in quotes, that pulls information from your Instagram profile, such as your bio, profile picture, any links or music that you have on a profile. The other side will have a QR code that links to your profile. You can customize the background of a profile card with an image of your choosing to express yourself. So it looks like they're taking that QR code thing and making it making more information and calling it a business card. It's just a QR code. It's already been there. So
no, let them feel special. It's a business card.
So they made it two-sided and you can put a picture on the back. Okay, well, yeah, okay, Instagram, whatever. They're also go ahead.
No, so I'm trying to think, okay, if I have it on my phone, now I got to flip it. Why would I flip it over to? Never mind.
If it's Apple to Apple, all you got to do is touch your phone together.
Right. And
like Dr. Tati said, let them feel like they're doing something. Oh, Mark says here he talks about his IG. Someone added an IG account to mine despite two-factor authentication and violated the rules. I gave Facebook proof of my identity, but Facebook account has been 4 months. It's been suspended. Then he says, I have written my appeal over 100 times, no acknowledgement or response of any kind. Yeah, that's Facebook. That's Meta. They don't do anything unless you're verified. And then
they want people to use them.
Right. And then they don't really do much when you pay for the verification because they got levels of verification.
Well, and the thing, if you ask me, this is a dangerous way of forcing somebody's hand to pay for a service, because if you are a public figure, and I don't know if they do anything different with public figures, but if you are a public figure, are you forced to pay for this?
No, I think they had, before the Meta Verified came out, they had a system where they were verifying public figures. Like no charge. And then you got, I think it was the blue mark or the gray mark.
Blue check, whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it was.
So, but what happens now?
Those people have it without paying, I think.
No, I get it, but it's
Uh-huh.
say you get discovered, and okay, like somebody like Risa Tisa, she actually came to fame after the whole
Right.
blue check thing.
Mhm.
So would she have to pay for it?
The blue check, probably. I'm not sure. And then also realize somebody like Risa Tisa, she's got William Morris or something?
Yeah, she's with is she with William Morris
I'm
or
not sure who she's with.
or
Creative art,
creative artist? I think she's
artist?
CAA. She's
Okay.
creative
So
artist.
all of these companies, William Morris, CAA, whoever, they've got social media departments that handle all that stuff for them. So whatever they need for that, they handle it. Like, I don't know if she would have to pay. I'm not sure.
Good
But
question.
her agency would know because they've got social media departments. So
interesting.
They do all that for them. So
la-di-da.
Yeah. So yeah. Lucky. She doesn't have to, and just a little offside, the people that tweet and say crazy things online, their representation has social media for them, but they choose to poo-poo it or override it, or I'm thinking people like Cardi B and other people that they just get on and do stuff. And I'm pretty sure her social media team is always pulling their hair out.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
They can't stop the artist or the celebrity. They can't really tell them to don't. But if you've got representation, there's a social media team for you. And they encourage the use of that. And that's why you see some celebrities, their social media is very, I'm at this. Because they got people that do that for them. But the ones that go off script, Cardi B is one that came to my mind. She was on Instagram Live screaming and whatever at somebody. She's one. So that's what they do. So, but they're really not supposed to do that. But she does it, and then it's a part of her brand anyway, so it brings her fans, it makes her fans happy. That's why she does it. Let me see, Mark has something here. Let me see. A suggestion that I'm not famous is insulting, lol. No, I mean, it's just that issue that you have, a lot of people have that issue with Meta. Whereas, because I think I had it on Instagram a while back, and they did something in my account, and they were like, "Oh, you got to send this, and you got to do it." I had to do it like so many times. I was like, "What's going on?" Because I didn't do anything. But then they saw my stuff, and they finally unlocked the account. But it's like other people never get their accounts unlocked, so I don't know the rhyme or the reason. Probably something AI, that's based. Oh, and also Mark says, today's episode of the 4-minute mark is about the power of now. Available on all podcast platforms, YouTube and TikTok. If you listen, leave a comment. Thanks. So let's go over there and check that out. I know if I go to my phone, it'll probably pop up at the top like it did last time.
I need to be better about leaving comments because I always listen and then I'm that was great, and I forget to leave a comment. So I will make sure I do that from now on.
Yeah, when I go try to go to podcast, the little thing pops up with my last. So I'm good, Mark. Now everybody else listen, and like, we gotta leave comments. Good reminder. All right, so let me get back to the updates. There's one more. Instagram is rolling out new safety features to protect teens from sextortion. Is that how you say that? When people are being extorted through sexual means of, okay, I got a picture, I got a video of, I'm going to show it online. So this is for teens, not adults, teens. So Instagram is introducing a series of new safety features to protect users from sextortion scammers. So you cannot take a screenshot or screen record ephemeral images or videos sent in private messages. So this is in the DMs. So they're saying up until now, you have been able to screenshot ephemeral content in Instagram DMs, direct messages, but the other person will be notified that you saved it. With the new change, if you send someone a photo or video via the DMs using the view once or allow replay features, the other person won't be able to save the content. Also, Instagram won't let people open, view once, or allow replay images or videos on the desktop to ensure that they can't get around the safety message that they put in. So they're taking this. They're doing something like Snapchat. That Snapchat says, "Hey, when you take a screenshot, it tells the person took a screenshot." So this is so they're trying to prevent it. Like you can't even open to look at it and take a screenshot. And if you look at it once, you look at it once. So this is because of all of the things earlier this year about teen accounts, all of the things that they had to change because of the issues with teens. So this is another part of the safety measures with teen accounts. So remember, with teen accounts, young users can't receive messages from anyone they don't follow or aren't connected to, but they can still receive follow requests from anyone. So they're making it, Instagram is making it harder for suspicious accounts that, like those that were recently created, to request to follow teens. So also Instagram will look at how scammy an account appears. They've got some internal messages for that, or internal rules. Instagram will either block the follow request entirely or send it to a teen spam folder. Remember, these are teens under 18. So this is also, they're also putting safety notices in DMs to let teens know when they're talking to someone who might live in a different country. That's another indicator of it might be something scammy. Not that it is, it might be. It's just an indicator. So they're saying that they do this because sextortion scammers often lie about where they live in order to get teens to trust them. Instagram is also going to prevent accounts depicting scammy behavior from seeing people's following and follower lists. And you won't be able to see who likes someone post or see which posts they have been tagged in. And just one more thing Instagram is rolling out is nudity protection feature globally. They tested it in April. This is a measure that automatically blurs images that contain nudity in the DMs. This feature will be enabled by default for teen users. And the people that send these things to teens, Instagram will warn them of the risks involved with sending private photos. So here's their quote. This feature will be enabled by default for teens under age 18. Will blur images that we detect contain nudity when sent or received in Instagram DMs, and will warn people of the risks associated with sending sensitive images. And also the last thing that this doesn't it does apply. So they're going to start showing an educational video about sextortion scammers to teens in the US, UK, Australia, and Canada. They're also partnering with influencers like Bella Poarch and Brent Rivera. And I don't know these people. These are teen influencers to create content about spotting sextortion and what to do if it happens. So those are all the things that Meta is trying to do to protect the teens from sextortion scamming. So there you go. And that's your social media news update for the week.
Ba-da-ba.
Ooh,
nice.
That was good.
Thank you.
I'm glad they're doing something about.
I mean, there's more stuff, but you know, we can't talk about everything. I try to hit the big ones.
Here we go. Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
All right, Dr. Tachi, I think you have the floor.
Okay, wonderful. Well, we have a rest well, and this was a surprising rest well. But there were a few, but this is one that everyone would know. Liam Payne, who was a former One Direction member, passed away at the age of 31. And reportedly, he fell from a hotel balcony in Argentina. And he passed away from his injuries. He had extremely serious injuries. And so he passed from trauma and internal and external bleeding. So that's unfortunate. Yeah. Interesting. So for those of you that were One Direction fans, you were probably aware of this news already. I was not necessarily a One Direction fan, but you know, they were a huge, like a few years ago, huge. and still are huge with fans. So rest well to him. Okay, let's keep going. Let's talk a little bit about. Do we want to do this for? Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Netflix. I'm saying it pensively because I'm like, do I want to talk about that first? Yes, let's do this. 2 Netflix stories. So let's talk about the fact that Netflix has topped subscriber retention amongst North American SOVD services. Now, if you don't know SVOD services, now that's streaming video on demand, right? So Netflix, obviously, Hulu, subscription companies like that. So apparently, Netflix has the most retention out of the many services. So if you look at their numbers, they have almost 280 million subscribers worldwide. And they also are number one, as I said, in SVOD services, is SVOD subscribers, retention in US. And it's not just the US, but it's US and Canada markets. And this is according to new data from BB Media. And what BB Media does is they monitor streaming services. They monitor 4,500 streaming services across 250 countries and territories. And the things they look for are pricing, plans, bundles, and commercial offers. So this is what they came up with after studying and surveying. So their research found that 55% of Netflix subscribers in North America, on average, have been with the platform for more than 2 years. Is that any of you here? Yes?
Yeah.
Francine looks like
all of the above.
Yeah. So I've actually been with Netflix now for 20 years. Because I signed up in 2004.
I think I've been. When did they start the CDs, the DVDs, and the envelope?
Probably. I think they started that like 2002 or 2003, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever they did in the early days, I think I've been with them.
Yes. I was with that.
Remember.
Yeah, it's interesting how far they have come from the days of we send you DVDs. I'm wondering, I'm like, how much inventory did you have to be able to send out as many DVDs as you did? Now, when you went to a Blockbuster, right, or a Hollywood Video, if it's out, that's just too bad for you. It's out. So you just have to wait till somebody returns it. And God forbid if they lose it and they have to buy another one for rental. But you never really had that problem with Netflix. So interesting. Mark has a question or a comment, I should say.
Okay.
Hold on.
You got it, Brad?
Yeah, I'm getting over here because he says, I wonder why Netflix doesn't offer annual subscriptions with the discount. Most of the other streamers do. That's how I save money. I put Netflix on pause from time to time.
That is an interesting question. And my answer to that is because they don't have to. They are and I'm about to talk about this, but they are the streamer with the largest inventory. So when you have the most, people are automatically going to gravitate toward you because you have the most, because they're trying to get the most bang for their buck. And again, that's also in addition to costs, etc. But that's also how they justify being able to hike your prices because they do have the most, because they have a large library. And it's like, oh, well, look at all the value you're getting. We have thousands upon thousands of things that you could look at your leisure. So the other streamers don't have that luxury. They don't. They're trying to be Netflix, but they cannot. My dear, you are not Netflix. Be who you are. Be best in class in your
be best.
Okay, don't try and be Netflix. And see, this is where you mess up. You all are trying to be Netflix, knowing that Netflix is best in class for where they are now. Don't look behind you as you run Netflix because somebody can overtake you. But right now, you are best in class. So stop trying to be Netflix and be who you are. Paramount Plus,
right?
Be
And
who you are. Hulu, go ahead.
You have to remember Netflix started in 1997.
Yeah.
So they've got the brand recognition from way back. Everybody talks about them. Gen Z loves them. So that's why they don't have to. You offer discounts when you want more revenue or more clients or more as an enticement.
It's the same reason Starbucks doesn't have to advertise. They do very little advertising because they've already got brand recognition. So I don't have to advertise.
Right. They only the Starbucks only talks about the Christmas cups or the pumpkin latte, and then they don't do a lot of it. It's the same with Apple. Apple doesn't do a lot of.
They don't do a lot
unless
of
they have
advertising at all.
something new coming out. Like I remember when the what was coming out, and they had the commercials with the people who were in silhouette, but they had the AirPod,
the AirPods.
some in the ears, and then they were dancing, and it was people, but they put them in silhouette. I just remember seeing those everywhere because Apple doesn't really have to advertise or discount, or they do give some don't they discount like AirPods? I've seen like discounts, but that's because it's the old version or whatever, but they don't really have to do that.
And during their events, they will be like, and the prices for the Model X will stay the same. They don't have to do anything. They let you know, we don't have to give any of you dummies a discount at all. Just be happy that we are selling them to you and we don't make it exclusive. And because of that attitude, I think this is why
it's
it works.
A sign of brand dominance. That I mean, like Netflix is the top, Apple and Microsoft is at the top, and that's what it is. Everybody below that wants to scale and grow has to say, well, we need more clients, or we need more numbers, or we need more subscribers. How do we do that? A discount, buy, pay for the year and get 2 months free or a month free. That's how they get people in. But the others, like Netflix, don't have to do that. Netflix doesn't have to do that. And in fact, they raise their prices.
Exactly. And so maybe best in class is the wrong terminology.
Yeah, not best in class
because it doesn't mean they're the best. They're just the most
brand
popular
wise
and the top and have big brand recognition.
Yeah.
Because no disrespect to Starbucks, but
none.
If you ask any coffee drinker, they're going to look at you like Starbucks. They're going to laugh.
Starbucks is a celebrity trending. They don't advertise that when you buy the cup. I always say when you have the cup with that green mermaid on, that's the advertising.
It's selling you the lifestyle, right?
They know that.
They do. I mean, and there's competition out there, but see, the ones that will offer the discounts are the ones that are usually the competition, the ones that are trying to get to the point where they are. So when you have brand recognition, you don't. How often does Tesla advertise? Never. But people still buy Teslas, don't they? As deplorable as their owner is, but people still buy Teslas.
Yeah,
brand recognition. It has brand recognition, and they were, I guess, at one point kind of best in class, right? When it came, at least best in class, not necessarily in function, but in style, because all the other electric cars out there were ugly.
Yeah, because we're not talking best in value or best product. Sometimes the best product doesn't get the most sales. It's not about being the best.
So Netflix did Netflix and acquired their audience because they did a certain amount of work.
Yeah.
And that's why they are where they are. The other people, you have clients, serve them and be okay with that. Just serve the people who decided to come to you.
Yeah, the market's being carved up and served in slices. Netflix has the biggest, and then here comes whoever's next. Hulu, Disney. I'm just throwing out the names. I don't know who's next, but they come and they get a piece of that pie.
And because TJ and other, we have learned, you don't serve everybody.
You don't.
And so the people who came to you, serve them well, and be happy where you are. You know what I mean? And a lot of people are wanting to be, I want to own it all. Well, you can't.
And see, remember that like Netflix has this Gen Z coolness of, remember Netflix and chill. That was a thing. Like you hear Hulu and chill. You hear anybody saying that? Disney Plus and chill. Paramount. No, it's a brand thing. So
CBS All Access, Paramount Plus, and chill.
It's just that's the part. Branding is very important, and it has to do with established, like Apple, Nike, all of the Van. I can even go talk. I think we talked about Van sneakers one time. It's all about what was started out. And remember, Netflix started out. It was innovative at the time. Nobody was mailing out DVDs like Dr. Tachi said. You had to go to Blockbuster and get that clunky box of videotape and and wait for somebody. And oh, they only had 3, or they don't have any, and the little thing is there and empty, and you would shake it. BizChicks and chill. So Netflix has the brand advantage of being first in the innovative, also pivoting from the mail and DVDs. They rightly saw that, instead of being like Blockbuster and holding on to, they're going to drive over to the Blockbuster and get out the car and no.
And then Blockbuster was not very nice. You must rewind the videos, and you didn't rewind. There was a whole bunch of,
when you make the
foolishness and mayhem.
When you make the customer happy, you see what happens.
We're gonna put you on a timeout because you didn't rewind your last 3 videos or something. I was like, really?
So, and Netflix was like, oh, here's 3 DVDs. Keep them as long as you want, but you won't get more until you return 1 or all 3. And people were cool with that. Oh, you mean I can keep this as long as I want? Not like Blockbuster and I got to pay fees and this and that.
Exactly.
That's part of it.
The thing is that Netflix seemed like a reward and not a punishment.
Yes. They made the customer happy. What do people want? They're busy. They don't want to go to Blockbuster. And especially if you live in a place like New York City or LA or whatever, you want things to come to you. Oh, the DVDs come to you in the mail? What? Where do I sign up? Man, I was like, where do I sign up? Give me that.
Exactly.
And then a part of it is like Dr. Chandi said, the inventory of it. They didn't just have like, well, here's 3 movies. Here's 12 movies. No, it was like, oh, you got the foreign stuff with the subtitles. Oh, I'm signing. What? Give me that stuff. Or you've got the documentaries. I want that. See, making the customer happy. So there's a lot of work that goes involved with it. So now they reap the rewards of, and I think I mentioned on Tuesday about Kleenex and being, okay, we don't say tissues, we say Kleenex. It's a brand. It's so ingrained that it's like it takes over. And remember Xerox? You used to have a copy machine, and it was go Xerox. It wasn't go copy that in the copy machine. Go Xerox that.
Where the brand name becomes the process or the product.
Yes. So Netflix, and I'm just saying Netflix.
Just like Google.
Yep.
Google.
Nobody says throw Yahoo that.
Just Google it. That's another one.
Go Netscape that.
No.
Go Bing that.
Oh, no, it doesn't work that way.
They would like for it to work that way, which is the crux of this whole conversation we're having.
Right.
The competitors would like for it to work that way. But guess what? You simply there can only be one in that spot. So you do what works for you. Stop trying to be everyone else. The thing is, Netflix realized, listen, Blockbuster has the video store on lock. You may have a few Hollywood videos here and there, but they have that. So how can we be different from what they're doing? Oh, we can mail these out to people and you can keep them as long as you like. If you have a plan, you can keep 4 at a time.
Right.
And then when you send those in, we'll send you and it comes the next day.
And I'm pretty sure they got that information by doing surveys.
Exactly.
By asking. They asked.
And participating in the system of Blockbuster's video stores as well. You know, they had people go and rent and see it. So in addition to that, they're doing that other type of research. So that's what has put them on top, not replicating what already exists, but improving upon what already exists.
Exactly. So that's why they are at the place where they go, we don't discount because we don't have to. We're an established brand. So this is part where branding gets your business above your competitors. You can be first, you can be an early adopter, or there's other ways. But Netflix was an early adopter, saw something new, took a risk, and asked what people wanted and delivered.
And they've continued to take risks because remember, they went from DVDs in the mail to streaming, and they will be first.
They went from they went to 4K or something, and the 4K level. So they talked it. They listened to the customer. They talked to them and were like, what do they want? They don't go, okay, well, we're going to give them XYZ without asking the customers, what would you like? And they tell you, oh, how about 4K? Okay, here it is, but it costs more.
Exactly. And the thing is, you don't feel, because the broadcast standard is still really 1080p, even though 4K is the thing, most people do not have the entire ecosystem is not 4K. And so most people are probably going to be okay watching movies in 1080. It's not that the ones who will care about that are the ones who really care about having a TV in the first place, which is not Gen Z, which is not millennials. It's not even a lot of Gen X, even though we grew up on TV.
It's a certain subset of the market that they have high-end equipment, or they have a certain stereo or a certain sound system, or they've got home, they know
the only people who care about Dolby. Those are the only people that care about surround sound. Nobody else cares.
So Netflix knows that those people are there, and that's what the 4K was for, and that's why it costs more. And they knew that everybody was not going to sign up for the 4K. They knew that.
This for the same people who paid all that money for Blu-ray.
Listen.
And where is Blu-ray today?
Ooh. I mean, it still exists, but it's
still around.
The thing is, we've moved away from physical media. So just because it is a sharper image and a sharper resolution, it's still physical media, which we've moved away from. So, and it's too new to be a nostalgic thing where people are like, ooh, I'm going to collect Blu-rays. No, nobody's coming to see you, Otis. Okay.
You got to be in the film, and there's that's a certain market, that's a certain niche of people.
Those are the same people who have a Betamax. And think it's
like I remember my nephew, I think he had laser discs or something.
Right.
Laser
discs. Yeah, and I remember going to the store to check out laser discs or something. It was really complicated. I was like,
you see, he's a filmmaker, so that's his thing.
That's his thing, right? And the thing is, so I remember when I was in graduate school in the master's program, one of my favorite professors, and they were all my favorites. I had great professors. So Dr. Hahn, he was the media person, and believe it or not, at Howard, there were more people in the way it was structured. There were more people in like rhetoric and intercultural and organizational communication than mass media. So I was one of the few in mass media. So we tended to have the same professors. So he gave us a stack every week of articles that we needed to read. And when I say stack, I'm talking encyclopedia thick.
Oh.
And not Z, which only has a few entries. The like M, okay, encyclopedia thing. So in those, it was really good because honestly, he's the one that this is the reason that I get up and I, after I do my meditations and everything, the first thing I do is say what's going on in the media, and I go to all my subscriptions. It was because of him that I have that habit. And he was also the one that said, don't ever buy the first iteration of any technology, because he went through the whole story of how remember mini discs?
Yep.
Yeah. When mini discs came out, he bought a mini disc player and he said, and now where is it?
Gathering dust.
Gathering dust,
Gathering
using
dust.
for coasters. So that's why he was like, don't ever buy the first iteration of any technology.
Right.
Wait.
Well, the
And
early adopters do. So he sounds like an early
yeah,
adopter.
he's an early
Yeah.
adopter, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm only an early adopter with things like software. I'm not spending money
Yeah.
on something that is going to sit.
Right. But there are some people like that will, like you said, the end result is don't buy the first whatever. But there are some people that will, and it's a small amount that will go and buy the thing. Like what's the
Vision
Vision
Pro.
Pro? Like,
I'm
yeah,
like,
those
I'm
early
waiting.
adopters.
I'm waiting
Right.
because what's his name? Mark Zuckerberg just came out with some glasses that
Yeah.
are glasses.
Right.
Orion glasses. Now I'm
Yeah.
like,
Correct.
okay, so he has credibility because they came out with the Ray-Ban
Ray-Bans.
So now he got a little bit of track record. Now if we can do the head things not being so heavy or whatever, so I'm gonna wait a minute and see who's coming up, see if Apple's gonna reply or respond and have it where they're more glasses like instead of
Yeah, absolutely. That is
Right.
one of the things also that I believe is a hindrance to mass adoption of the metaverse, because getting in there is just so heavy with that. So that's one of the things.
Right.
But to your point also, Terry, in terms of the people that are early adopters, these are also the people that you see on hoarders buried underneath their stuff because they have too much of it.
And just saying early adopters reminded me of the curve, because it's the early adopters aren't first, it's the innovators, which is a very small percentage. They're saying like
Yes,
2%.
yes.
Early adopters are 13%. Early majority 30 is the early and late majority is the biggest part. There's the early majority, late majority, and then the laggards. Those are the people that are at the tail end of the innovation and following and everything. So,
and that's actually the laggers is when,
Yeah.
because that same curve is the diffusion of innovations basically.
Mhm.
And so that talks about when something becomes a mass medium, when it goes from just the idea to the early adopters, and at the end of that trail is
Yeah.
it being fully mass media. And of
Right.
course there are disruptions to things like
Yeah.
that, because television came out in 1938,
Yeah.
but because of the war and them needing General Electric and other people that produce television to produce tanks and war
Right.
things,
They had to switch.
they had to switch. So this is why you had a boom in the 1950s of television, because that was post-war.
Yeah,
And now
post-war.
people went into a post-war economy. And
Mhm.
remember, back in the day, they always used to say that a wartime economy was always bustling and booming. So now you've got the fruits of that happening. You have
Right.
the move to the suburbs. Well, now
Mhm.
that you've moved to the suburbs, I can no longer very easily get to the movies that
Right.
are in the city. So what do I need? I need something I can
need a
do at
TV.
home. Television. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. So it's
Yep.
interesting to follow the diffusion of innovations, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Very
So,
nice. Very nice.
yeah, I like this type of stuff. It's fun for me.
Very nice.
So anyway, Netflix has topped it, and let me give you the reasons why. That the reasons that are key drivers in terms of Netflix being on top. Well, they have an advantage over streamers like obviously Apple TV Plus, which came into the market in 2019, and Paramount Plus, which was 2021, 2022. Well, remember, Paramount Plus was previously CBS All Access, right?
Yeah.
So they actually, Netflix came into the market like it came in early, but in terms of streaming, that was like 2007. And so they expanded globally for streaming by 2016, which gave them an advantage over those two which entered the market late. So in a sense, I'm like, that's kind of apples to pine. No, let's do tropical fruits. oranges to pineapples or dragon fruit to pineapples. It's not the same thing. Netflix is going to have a distinct advantage because they were early, they were the first. They have had time to innovate in the streaming game, and they have more. So that's going to give them an advantage, just the fact that they've been in the game longer and they've been doing it well longer, if we are honest with ourselves, right? So the second thing is that Netflix has large offerings of genres. Apple TV Plus only has drama and comedy, which are only two of the top 5 globally preferred genres. And Paramount Plus caters best to regional tastes. They're very regional, right? So Paramount Plus offers 4 of the top 5 genres: comedy, drama, action, and adventure. But Netflix has a lot of different things. So that's the second thing. And the third reason is pricing. Pricing plays a really big role in user retention with streaming services. So Paramount Plus, though, is actually the most affordable option. However, you have to be affordable when you don't have that much, because that's how you stay competitive, or they're trying to stay competitive, because if they did what Netflix does, they'd be in trouble. They'd be in trouble. I mean, I haven't looked at what their Q4 earnings are. I don't know whether or not they broke even. I'd have to look, but I can probably tell that streaming overall, is streamers are trying to figure out other ways to monetize and make money, because there's so much choice, number one. Number two, you're dealing with somebody like a Netflix who does it really well. And this is why I'm like, listen, if you can identify a niche, I would go with that. Paramount Plus, it cannot be people who love Barb Barker and The Price is Right. It cannot be just about your shows. There has to be something else. So that's my advice to streamers. I don't know whether or not they're going to take it, but take it as somebody who studies this area, but also as a consumer. There has to be good pricing. There has to be a reason for me to go, which means you also have to have a library that's large enough to justify the price that I'm paying, right? So those are the two things. So we'll see what happens, because I know these companies are risk adverse. There are some that are probably getting ready to or wanting to jump ship, but let's take lessons from Nintendo. Don't jump ship yet, because you saw what happened when everybody left the space. Anyway, so that is one piece of Netflix news. Netflix also, in another piece of news, is expecting their programming slate to return to normal next year after the strike disruption. I think, it feels like a long time ago, but it really wasn't. But remember, we did have 2, almost 3 strikes that happened simultaneously. And so they are expecting to, they are expecting to rebound, because they said this year's slate was patchier than normal, and it was because of the Hollywood strikes. Obviously, if people are on strike, they're not going to work. If you're on a struck set, you can't do anything. So they talked about this on Netflix's Q3 earnings call, and they said some of their popular shows, including Cobra Kai and Emily in Paris, as well as newer shows like Perfect Couple and Nobody Wants This. Ooh, that is our show.
No,
yeah, who asked for this?
No, ours is Who Asked for This.
Exactly. But you're right. But it could also be Nobody Wants This.
Okay, we need to check and find out when they started using that.
Exactly. So anyway, so Nobody Wants This is one of the shows. And they were supposed to air much earlier in the year, but of course the impacts from the strike delayed all of this. And Ted Sarandos, who is the co-CEO of Netflix, says this: the first half of this year, our lineup was much lumpier than we liked, and that was primarily because of the work stoppage. It did hit the US, Canada, and Australia the hardest, but there were also some effects felt in production around the world. And they said, as I said, they're moving toward a more normalized output schedule with television series more on track than film, according to Sarandos. But neither area has really fully recovered. And to be honest, I don't know that they will if they're still going to continue to do things using an old model. Does this make sense to you? If they're not willing to shift, and I don't know that they are. And Netflix seems to be the most flexible of all of them because of their history of innovation and the newness to the quote television game in the original content game. They're not new to making original content, but newer than some of these legacy ones are. Oh, what did Mark say? I'm sorry.
Mark says, I am the king of the promo deals and get the annual plans. I switch emails if the offer is for first-time subscribers only, etc. I always go for the deal.
I'm not mad at you one bit. Absolutely. Absolutely do that. Stamp of approval here. I'm not upset at all. So, what Sarando says is this: our aim here is to always have a very steady drumbeat of great new TV shows and films and games for our members to watch throughout the year. A drumbeat so steady that when you're watching the last episode of whatever you're watching, you start expecting the next thing to be great too. I get it. I totally understand that. So, we can look for next year for things to be strong. So they have a strong slate coming, including the action film Carry On, the piano lesson. And I don't know, have you ever seen the piano lesson? The play, the piano lesson?
No, I haven't.
That's what is the
I think
play
I
like?
saw that.
Yes. Why can't I remember his name?
August Wilson?
Yes, it's an August Wilson play. So there is they're doing an adaptation of that, the piano lesson. Also, who is Amelia Perez doing that? And that's going to be for next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
okay. And what network is this?
Netflix.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I think my opinion is Netflix does better when they were getting content from other people.
As opposed to their original content?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, they saw the writing on the wall when it came to these things. Whenever people see, how people sometimes are not happy for your success. So this is Netflix. They are the one, and people are not happy for their success. So they start plotting ways to
get their stuff back.
Get their stuff back. So they took a lot of, although we're seeing a reversal now, there's some things that are going to go back to Netflix. So we're starting to see a reversal because, again, that's like cutting off your nose to spite your face, right? Netflix has to pay licensing fees if you own it, and you just so badly want them not to succeed that you are willing to forego that money just so they don't succeed. You see how evil that is. So there, a lot of them are starting to rethink their decisions of pulling things out because a lot of them were like, "Oh, well, we could do our own." No, boo boo, you can't. You are not them. That is not you. You have what you have. Figure out a way to do that, but nobody listens. So in any case, that's what's happening there. Let me give you a few more things before we call it a day. So a federal judge has blasted Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' administration for threats against TV stations. So a federal judge wrote this: to keep it simple for the state of Florida, it's the First Amendment, stupid. So that's what the federal judge wrote on Thursday as he sided with local TV stations in an extraordinary dispute over a pro abortion rights television ad. So interesting indeed. So Chief U.S. District Judge Mark E. Walker from the Northern District of Florida granted a temporary restraining order against Florida's Surgeon General after the state health department threatened to bring criminal charges against broadcasters for airing the ad. So you all are not here, but they're having a lot of choice freedom commercials here everywhere. It's on TV. If I watch YouTube and you can't skip it, it's there. So they have really spent a lot airing this. So my thing is like, and it's because of the extreme bans that the governor has instituted and the regime has instituted. And so as a result, you're seeing this, but it's interesting that this is now the case, that the judge is like, listen, it's the First Amendment. You cannot do this. So it's Amendment 4. So the whole thing is vote yes on 4, and it's a whole campaign. So there a lot of course they have a lot of different examples and such in there and cases to uphold why you should vote yes on 4. So the judge agreed that the threats were viewpoint discrimination and wrote that the group presented a substantial likelihood of proving an ongoing violation of its First Amendment rights through the threatened direct penalization of its political speech. So the judge's order is valid through October 29th, and it bars them from Joseph Ladapo, who is the state surgeon general, from intimidating local stations for airing the Amendment 4 ad. So, I mean, you knew this was coming. I don't understand why they thought it was okay, especially during an election year in cases of this. But again, and not to get political, but it shows the lengths that people will go to in order to have their viewpoint be the only viewpoint. So yeah, it's interesting, and I've been seeing that a lot. But what I did not realize until I started doing some research was that there was a lawsuit by the state surgeon general. Listen, Florida, you have such nice weather. Can you just be good? It takes so much energy to be evil. Just be good, huh? How about that?
Mm-hmm. Mark has a comment. He says, Tachi, get rid of that governor of yours.
Listen, the unfortunate thing is, I think he's here for another 2 years. Unless he does something egregious. Well, never mind. He's already done
the election is 2026, right?
Yeah, it's 2026. So he's here until then, unless he does something even more egregious than what he's already done. So that's the unfortunate thing. But again, these people only get in because you have daft voters.
Yep.
Daft voters and voters who only care about or think that somehow these individuals can do something for them, which is daft. So they're all daft. How about that? So in any case, that's what's happening with First Amendment television ads and the state of Florida. But this could be any place these days. All right, one more, and then I am good. Okay, this is really interesting. TikTok is owned by ByteDance, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
And they have been publishing ebooks. They have a company that has been publishing ebooks called Eighth Note Press. Well, now they are looking into reviving the fervor for print. Even though print is still, relatively big, TikTok behind it, or ByteDance behind it, can make it even bigger. So they are foraying into print books now, not just ebooks. So they're already capitalizing on the momentum generated by Book Talk. Have you all ever been on Book Talk?
Haven't been on there, but I've heard of it.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, Book Talk is the book side of TikTok. So if you go to TikTok and you type in the search #Book Talk, you're going to get a whole lot of people that are authors, that are writers, that are publishers. So it's the whole book, and it's one of the largest genres on TikTok. Book Talk. It's absolutely amazing. When you go there, it's like, wow. And because I know a lot of people that are authors, I started going there and I'm like, oh, you don't say. Okay. So they're looking to, and I'm sure this is interesting news for them. So they've already, Eighth Press already does ebooks, but now they're looking into physical books. Huh. So if you hold on a second, sorry, I lost my article. Hold on a second. Election night. My article disappeared. Hold on.
While you're doing that, I'm going to mention Book Talk, and I think we talked about this a while back. There was an author who he written a book or something and didn't sell any copies. He was an older gentleman, and then his daughter made a video, put it on TikTok, made a video, #Book Talk. That's how you find it. That's how you get a part of it. And it just went viral, and it sold all of these books. I forgot his name. Oh, but that's really when people, I mean, it was Book Talk was a thing, but that's when, like, okay, if you didn't use TikTok, oh, that's when you came out and found out that this was a thing.
Exactly.
I cannot remember his name. It was an older man, and he'd written this book, and I think he'd written this book like a while back. And his daughter, or his granddaughter or granddaughter, younger person, went on TikTok and just was like showing him, like, oh, he wrote this book and and it's the way that she worded it. You don't go on and say buy my book. It was like a story. There was a story behind it that pulled at people's heartstrings, and they were like, oh, and they went to Amazon and bought the book.
No, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I don't remember the author's name. Ugh.
Mark Ward said he's been on Book Talk and that Tachi Talk will soon be trending. From your lips to God's ears.
#Indie Soup.
There you go. Exactly.
And with that in mind, why not have a channel with I guess a talk show it you know what I mean? That's what it does.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. We do on Indie Soup. We do. She's coming back. I have a meeting with her today, I think, actually. So she, Heather Asianbi, has a show on our platform called "Telling Tall Tales the Right Way." So she's a writer and does publishing, and last season she looked at 4 books and 4 television shows. So it was about storytelling in general, but see, it's possible and it's doable. So go back and watch Telling Tall Tales the Right Way, right? WRITE. So, okay, I have the article. I don't know how it got shuffled out. So if you did not know, Eighth Note Press is just a year old, and they've been capitalizing off of the momentum of Book Talk by picking up titles in TikTok approved genres like romantasy and young adult fiction. And initially they were only digital only goods, but Eighth Note Press is switching up their strategy. They have a partnership with an independent firm called Zando, and this is going to result in the publication of 10 to 15 print books per year beginning next year in 2025. So The Eighth Note head of editorial and marketing, Jacob Bronstein, says this: physical books are still overwhelmingly the most popular format, and certainly in specific genres, some of which we're playing in. They're still super important. So we knew that we needed to be in physical books. So let me tell you why they're doing this. It's a throwback to think about 10 years ago, where YouTube stars actually led to an increase in print media sales because they were writing books or co-authoring books, and then they published them through presses like Simon and Schuster's Keywords Press, like smaller offshoots of these large publishers. So why did they do that? Because fans of these internet famous authors saw the books as keepsakes. So that made them feel closer to their favorite creators. And so was it just enough to read a book by one of these famous YouTubers? They wanted to hold a physical copy of the books in their hands. So because Book Talk is the most talked about vehicle for reading recommendations, what they're doing is capitalizing off of the same thing that worked with these YouTubers back in the day. So there are publishing startups because of Book Talks, like Bindery. There's also production deals for adaptations from these books to movies, and even an awards show. So now, because of this, ByteDance is wanting to give TikTok users the print media experience that they want. So they're going to do that same type of thing with but maybe popular TikTokers. And yeah, so I found that extremely interesting. So and remember at the beginning we were talking about the waning of physical media. Here's one place where we see a slight reversal. And that's what I have for you today.
Hey. Well, now, thank you. And I want to thank everybody who's watching live and on the replay. We always have some really good content and discussions here on Tech Life Weekly. There's always something happening in tech. If you got a question about something happening in tech, please put it in the chat so we can address it. Or reach out to us at bizchicksnet@gmail.com. You can join the BizChicks community by going to texting biz to 33777 or going to bizchicks.net. However you get here, we thank you for taking the time out to be a part of our conversations today. TJ, Dr. Tachi, Terry, thank you for bringing a wealth of knowledge from the iRobots people and the painting robot lady, and all of the things that were shared, especially with what's happening on YouTube. Follow TJ on Tuesdays. She'll be here to talk about it, social media and digital marketing. Dr. Tachi's with Mediascope and Indie Soup Media. Mark Ward with the 4-Minute Mark podcast. Check him out. And again, thank you for letting us help you take the hassle out of your hustle. We will see you next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.